What's going on, guys? Big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta, and as you can see, we are back with a deck profile. This time we're doing a deck profile on Nubatama. I'm not the expert on Nubatama on our team. That's Chris Flores. Blazing Paladin is the expert, but I've played Nubatama from the start when the clan was introduced, because I'm a big fan of the way the art is made, the ninja thing that it has, and also the playstyle. Especially when Dominate was revealed, the clan became more evil and so more satisfying for me to play. And with the token mechanic, let's say, that we have got from Nubatama, I tried to implement that in premium. And until the stride that we have got now from the premium collection 2020, I didn't really put too much effort into making a video with the or making a deck with the tokens, so also no deck profile there. So now, because we have the new stride, which is an amazing stride, it does so much for the deck, it's finally time to show you guys what I've been working on. Of course, when you want to see the full deck with SPs and everything, we have to wait for deck profile from Blazing Paladin, because he tests the deck even more. But this is my take on the deck, and yeah, let's just go through the deck. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the new stride and what he does for the deck, because this card actually does a lot. And first we just explain his skill. So what he does is pretty much whenever he attacks, you have to retire 2 of your grade zeros, being your tokens or triggers, and then you flip something from your G-Zone face up. So he doesn't cast a Counter Blast, doesn't cast a Soul Blast, which is good because Soul is very important in this deck. And one of the big issues for the strides in this deck is that most of them cost Counter Blast, and if you don't have Counter Blast, then most of your strides would not work. So that's good that he only costs you to retire 2 grade zeros, which could be your tokens or any other grade zeros. Then what he does is you get all of your Vanguards back to your hand, you draw 2 cards, and then you call from your hand up to 2 cards. If you have called 2 from your hand, then he gains an extra 10k and a crit. If you don't, then you don't. But you get all of your Vanguards back to your hand and you draw 2 cards. What did we need in Nubatama before this set? We needed a finisher, a different kind of finisher, because we don't have Rena if we are using Jamie, right? And we needed a good first stride because the deck actually missed a good first stride. And also we needed something that gives us a lot of pluses, and also that uses the new mechanic, like the tokens, because we didn't really use the tokens that much. It didn't really benefit us having the token mechanic in the deck. And now it does, because you could just get rid of those tokens to plus to your hand and even multi-attack, right? Because this card gives you the ability to multi-attack, which is very good, especially in a deck that, again, that uses Jamie, which means that you could just destroy your opponent because they only have 3 cards in hand and not that much shield. All right, so let's first go through the deck. After that, I will show you like why the deck is built like this. All right, so first of all, let's go through the grade 3s. When it comes to the grade 3s, of course, we are on 4 copies of Jamie. Jamie is the most important VR for Nubatama. Of course, you can't play him with Rena, but that's how good this card is. It's just so simple that your opponents would have only 6 cards in their hands, and if you already have a grade 3 in your soul, then they could only keep 4, and keeping 4 means that striding would be hard. If you get rid of their board, it would be hard for them to recover. Depending on the deck that you're playing against, your game plan will be different, but still it's just so good to play the way it is. Then for the support grade 3, I play 4 copies of Magatsu Storm. It's always have been a personal favorite of mine. It gives you a good shield value, and sometimes if you go for your ultimate stride, which is Drachma, and you can't finish your opponent, then this card helps you to recover and still finish your opponent off, because you could ride it on the top of him. They still only have 4 cards in hand, and then you could still multi-attack. Last but not least, I play 1 Zanki. Zanki does help in some situations where you could ride him on the top of the Jamie to have the extra attack on your opponent. So it does put a little bit more pressure on your opponent on that turn, but again, it's just like an extra in there. So 9 grade 3s. For the grade 2s, it's actually very simple. We run 4 Gale, 4 Zangatsu, and 4 Ungai. And this is just a very simple grade 2 lineup, but it works the best. Gale give you a very good combination, of course, with Storm, again, if your stride doesn't work, but mostly he just give you a plus in the early game, could also be in the late game. He's also 16k attacker, which is always good to hit the right numbers. Zangatsu right here is the one who gives you tokens, so he's a very easy counterblast, gain a token, give them power, which is amazing, which you could use with your new stride. And Ungai is actually a so good card in this deck, especially because you can combine him very well with a new stride, which you could call him with a new stride after already attacking twice with your lanes, and then you could still set your opponent at 11k yet again, and set your own Regars at 11k as well. So that's just really good. Next, we have the grade 1 lineup, and first we have our countercharger at 4, token giver at 3. The thing about this card, it's really good, and you could get his skill off at least once in a game, but the problem is he is too Soul Blast heavy. The Soul Blast 2 is a little bit too much, especially in a deck that you still need your soul for your other strides. Then I like playing 2 copies of him. He gives you a hit pressure in the early game, but he could also gain power, so that's always nice. And then this is a personal favorite of mine, another one. It's a grade 1 who gains an extra crit. This does help out sometimes if you want to hit your opponent for that 2 damage, and sometimes, let's say, you don't get the right crit, but you have this. And having this on the Rygar circle, meaning your opponent would need to stop this attack at any cost. And again, you could take this card out to play more copies of him or anything else you want. And last but not least, for the grade 1 lineup, I play 1 Stride Folder. This does help to get the Zanki to the hand if needed, but most of the time also just use it to stride with. For the starter, we play the V starter, the newer one. I like the art, and it does help getting that quick shield and the extra draw in the early game. It's always nice. Then we play 6 crits, being 3 on 3. 3 crits that you could stride with, and 3 crits that goes to soul. Both of them are very good, especially the one who goes to soul to draw and give more power to the Vanguard is definitely very good, because lots of your cards cost soul, and also because if you make this card very strong, you know, it always has a crit, it just could hit your opponent for game right there. Alright, and then we play also 6 draws, so 6 draws, 6 crits, 2 vanilla draws, and of course the 4 PGs. And for the heals, we play 2 on 2. So definitely a very balanced lineup when it comes to the grade 0s. Let's go through these strides as well. We have 2 of the new stride. I tried 3, didn't really feel like 3 were needed, so 2 is more than enough in my opinion. We have 2 Attacker Lords, 2 Munjin Lords, so 2 on 2 on 2. These are your main strides. We have 1 of the Mukuro stride, 1 of the new Munjin Lords, and then we also add in 1 of the Cyclones. The Cyclone is nice to flip because he gives power to your grade 1 3k, and he also gives power to the draw trigger if you have it on the field. Remember that Cyclone doesn't give power to the tokens, which is sad, but the tokens have a continuous ability, so this is something that you could take out to play anything else if you want in here. There is nothing that I would really like to play except the GB8, but this deck doesn't really reach GB8 as in my experience. It could reach it as a 3rd stride, but even then I don't know about that. So I'd rather have something to just flip and maybe have value with it, maybe not. So this could be a Sea Breeze or it could be a Cyclone. I don't know, just flipping the Cyclone sometimes feels that your opponent will have a panic or somehow, so I think it's always good to have it in here. So that's why I play the 1 Cyclones, and of course we play 1 Drachma and 1 Gilgol. These are very good. This is still a very good first ride, and Rahma is of course the amazing finisher in this deck, because again your opponent keep only 4 cards in their hand, then they lose 3, and if you get to Rahma, then pretty much you killed your opponent. You finish them off. For the G guards, we play one of the flip G guard, and then we play 2 on 2. Your big shield and yours, you just, this card is so good. Just take out one of your opponent's back row great ones, defend with it, and the only bad thing about it is of course it costs a counter blast and a soul blast, which is heavy, but if you really need it, then you use it. And that's actually it about the deck. So let's go back and explain a little bit more about the deck. What you want to do is your first grade 3 ride should be the Storm, right? And before that, if you had the ability to use Gale, which is in my opinion still the best ride target, then that's good. So you have, let's say your soul would look like this is your best ride targets. So you have the grade 0, you ride into grade 1, you put a little bit of pressure on your opponent, then you get to this and he gives you draw, and you could always like get the counter charge back if you have this in your hands, and also get rid of the cards you don't need. Then you get into Megatsu Storm, and from this moment on you gain the let's say the protect 1, because in this deck you mostly go protect 1. If you feel that it's necessary to go protect 2 to have a bigger numbers and like interceptors on the field, you could do that, but mostly we go protect 1 in premium because it's premium. And on the next turn is the turn that you could stride. Let's say if you've been second, or if you went second, I mean, you could stride on this turn, right? So if you have a grade 3 in your hand, or a stride folder, or the crit that you stride with, you could stride, but you could also just stride into Gilgal, right? Because Gilgal is always good. He gives you like the free stride and he gets you the counter charges. But let's say that you want to use your new stride. So you stride into this card. So what this card does is it acts as, again, as a finisher, as a card that you want plus with, and it could do whatever you like. If you don't want to give your opponent counterblast, you could still attack with this card on one of the rare guards, and you still get all of your rare guards back to your hand, and you draw out of that. So that's always good. You don't really have to recall because you're attacking into a rare guard, so gaining the crits and the 10k doesn't matter. If you're rushing your opponent, you're trying to kill them, you could even kill them on the first stride if you want to. Then having cards that give you tokens, so let's say that you go first, use this, and you Soul Blast 2, it goes back to the hand, and then you gain 2 tokens. Let's say that you're doing it like this, and then you get him, or let's say this guy, and he gives you another token. It's good. He also gives them power, right? So you could do it like this, and then have an attacking lane like that, or whatever you like. This is good, right? But then you lose one of your tokens because he said all of your regards will go back to your hand, and then you only get rid of 2 for his ability. So that's less good. But normally, if you already have like the 2 with his skill, that's already good enough. So doesn't really matter what you have as more attackers on the field. They will always work good. Okay, so doesn't really matter. So you attack, and then attack if you have power on them. Then now you retire these 2 tokens, you draw 2 cards, and then they go back to your hand. And the nice thing about this is because you've already called the Ungai, you could make them stronger with Ungai, right? And that's the stupid thing about these tokens, is you don't always have to use him to make them stronger. You could just make them stronger with Ungai, and then you get all of these back to your hand. You draw 2, and then you could call the Ungai back, because if your opponent got a trigger, then the Ungai will make them 11 again, and this will gain a lot of power and the crits, right? And then the Ungai and this card will be 11k, and your opponent will be 11k. And now they can't take this card, they can't take this attack, they have to guard this because it has a crit. So then you attack, and you've already put so much pressure on your opponent. If you do this in combination with having this as your Vanguard, and even if they have the 6 cards in their hand, this is still a lot for them to guard. But if they have the 4 cards in their hand, then this is devastating to combine that with this card. And that's why this is an amazing card, and that's why you could also play 3 copies of him as a set. There is another combination that's also very nice to do with this, is of course combining the Ungai with the greats, one who gains a crit or who has an extra crit. This card gains power from the Cyclone if you have him face up, but if you call these two, let's say that you attacked already, then you attack with this, everything goes back to your hand, then you call them back. It doesn't work like this, that he make him 11k, then he becomes 16k. It doesn't work like that. He will become 8k because he gained a 5k, then you will make him 11k again, because the continuous skill goes before the auto ability. So that's also important to remember, that you can't use Ungai and the Cyclone to make him stronger. You can use that or this, but usually you will just call these two if you combine him with Ungai. If you not, then he always is good because he gained the extra 5k from the Cyclone. Also, the same goes for your draw trigger, because you play 2 vanilla draw triggers which also gain power from the Cyclone. So it's not much, but as I said, you could take the Cyclone out to play whatever you like. Okay, so you could do it like this. So you call these two, and then you make your opponent's Vanguard 11k, and you make both of them 11k. That's the good thing, because now they have to guard this attack, and if you get a critical and you drive check, and let's say that they are on 4 damage, then you give the crit to him, and then both of these are lethal to kill them. And because they only have 4 cards in their hand, they had to guard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They need to guard 5 attacks, which is impossible. So that's why this is such a good card, because it gives you the multi-attacking option, especially with cards like these that gain a crit, and cards like these that reset your opponent's Vanguard at 11k yet again. Alright guys, that was it for this deck profile. If you have any questions, just ask us in the comment section below. We'll try to answer your questions. And of course, when Chris Flores Blazing Paladin would be ready with everything and being also able to do the deck profile for you guys, then we will do that as well. Thanks for watching guys, until next time.